your middle name?
Yes. I don't know why Facebook does not like me.
I love that name. So my parents miscommunicated on my name before I was born. My dad, they were at a party and my mom was pregnant and everybody says like, what's the name going to be if it's a girl? And my mom said Krista and my dad said Crystal. And then they looked at each other and were like, what? It was like a few weeks before I was born. So then they kind of scrapped both of them and stuck with Karen. But I always really liked Crystal with a K, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, but I wanted to have my, like, my first and last name on Facebook. But then, there's a time on Facebook where you could like make any kind of funky name you wanted. And then they were like, make the real name you want. If we're going to change it where you can't change your name anymore. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And I didn't do it. So now I'm stuck with that.
It's all good. All good. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna live on Facebook and I'm just gonna confirm when that's up.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, I think it's working. Okay, and I'm tagging you. Sweet. Right, it should be kicking in here. Okay, I can see it almost up. I'm sure it is up. I just, there's a delay. Okay, yeah. All right. Welcome, everyone, here to the Quantum Family Podcast. I'm with Valencia Morten. Hey, Valencia.
Hey, Karen.
Welcome. All right, so I'm just going to get off of the Facebook view. Here we go. So Valencia and I met probably like not very long ago, just in the last couple months in our Inner Circle membership group, which is connected to the Single Mamas Do Travel group. And I noticed Valencia right away. Oh, shoot. Sorry, our Facebook sound is on. Technical challenges. Okay. I don't know how to shift it. Okay. For some reason, it's, yeah. All right, I'm going back into Facebook. Hang in there with us, everybody. Sorry, Valencia.
No, I am not techie. So the fact that you can do this is a lot.
Yeah. Well, let me demonstrate how not to do it, and then we'll go from there.
I didn't even know Zoom could do Facebook. Gotcha.
Okay, here it is. I got it. I got it. I'm figuring it out.
Yay!
Boom. I got it. Okay. Back to the program. Okay, so in our amazing Inner Circle group, we do Marco Polos, which if anybody check that out. Highly recommend it. But we're literally chatting with this beautiful group of single mamas daily, and it's an amazing way to drop in deep right away. I mean, not as deep as if we were in person, but from you, Valencia, I just noticed there's just this vibrant presence, and you were often showing up with this great encouragement, plus some really savvy advice or insight or research. And I thought, oh, this is a wise woman. I'm grateful to be in circle with her. So, and then I learned that you were an expert on money, and that's such a big issue for so many of us single mamas. So I'm excited to get hear a little more of your story and also dive into that topic together.
Yes, I'm excited. Yeah, so I actually I live life pretty unconventionally, and I say unconventionally with a grain of salt, though. I always feel like people are like, well, think outside the box. But I really feel like thinking outside of everyone else's box. I think we all want to live, quote unquote, unconventionally, but we get caught up in everyone's idea of how we should live a normal life. And if we kind of break out from that, it will free up our time, our life, and especially our money. So that's very much how I live my life, trying to constantly, and it is a constant battle, trying to constantly kind of just X out what other people are saying or doing and really focusing in on my life and what I want for my life and my child. So that kind of went along the realm about how I got debt free. So I had about 43K in student loan and credit card and a little bit of divorce debt. And for my lifestyle, when I got pregnant and then shortly after got married, had a crazy Vegas wedding. It was beautiful though. It was beautiful. The marriage lasted 3 months, but it was a beautiful wedding. It's a beautiful wedding. And I would do it again. I would do that kind of wedding again. But, you know, I had a whole thought in my head about, you know, I want to stay at home with my daughter and really be intentional about raising her. And I really wanted her. And so I really wanted to be just as in tune with her as possible. And when I saw this divorce happening, because 3 months in, I was like, oh, dude, we're done. Because you're not being a helpmate. You're more of like child number 2. So thank you, sir, but I'm good. And but I still wanted to live the lifestyle I wanted, which was being at home with her. I didn't know how that was going to happen, but I realized a couple of things. If I wanted to still live life my way, I had to hold people accountable. I had to pull in my tribe. I had to get all the benefits due to me, and really pull my big girl panties on. And that's really what set me on the path to getting debt free. I made sure that my Minnie's dad did not get off scot-free. Like, you know, a lot of us single moms will be like, well, you know, I just don't want to deal with him, or I want to be independent. I won't take any money. We were both in that room or wherever you were, if you're spicy, making that child. So, you know, wherever you were, no judgment. So, you know, we're both in this together, and we're in this for life, whether you want to be or not. You know, marriages can go and come, but, you know, but kids are forever, you know. So I didn't allow him to kind of go off on his merry way. I made sure that he was accountable, and therefore did do the child support situation. I got on government help, and I, to this day, have no shame in saying that. For me, I worked since I was like 13. I paid into the system. You're daggone right, I'm going to benefit from a system that I believe in and paid into, because I was a child myself. And I called my family. I was like, look, I'm getting divorced. It's just me and the Minnie. I need you all to kind of surround me and help me. And before that, I had never rallied in the troops. It seemed like, you know, adulting, you do it by yourself, right? But for me, I was like, no, this is me and my child. I need to rally in the troops. And then I started doing side hustles. And that really focused me in on, I actually had 11 at one time. So I had 11 side hustles. I had my daughter at home with me throughout all that time. I breastfed her from like, until she was like 2.5. So I'm like literally on my computer doing side hustles, breastfeeding this child, you know, but ultimately living the life I wanted. I wanted to be at home with her. I wanted to breastfeed her until she was able to talk to me and tell me, Mom, I'm good. You know, I mean, that it was literally like that. I mean, she literally was like, told me like, Mommy, can we pull it out? And I'm like, you know what? It's probably time to stop at this point. If you're talking at that level, it's probably time to pump the brakes, you know? But I was living the life I wanted, and I just had to adjust it. You can still like live any life you want. But you might be a little bit uncomfortable. You might have to adjust for a period. But now I find myself, we've been in Alaska. We've moved to Alaska, which was a dream move for me. We've been here about, I guess, 3 weeks to a month. And all that toiling away and heartache and struggle over this 6-year time span and getting debt free, dealing with her headache of a dad and doing all that got me to a place where eventually I was where I wanted to be, which was, you know, being debt free and having a business, having a 9-to-5 that I loved, and being in a space where I can look outside and see mountains all day, you know? So
Yeah.
the journey.
I love hearing that, Valencia, because what I feel like you just did was flip the traditional journey that we think of becoming a single mom, and you empowered yourself at every single step. And
Yeah, and I mean, and there was so much shame tied to it. Like when I was going through it, so many people will judge you and think they have the right to, and think what they're doing is so much better, and they know so much more than you, right?
yeah. Yeah, I know on my journey, one of the things that I really like, not only are we here to step out of boxes, not our boxes, but others' boxes, but like I visualize it as a collapsing of boxes for all of us, because that idea that we can actually do something on our own, that even a single family with 2 parents can raise 2 kids or 3 kids on their own, that's an illusion as well. And I feel like as a single mom, as soon as I shattered that belief that I could do this on my own and did what you did, which was reach out for my network and support, that I realized what an illusion it was. And I realized the gift that I had been given, that I get to figure this out early and to the receiving of that community connection and support to raise my kids with me.
Right, and it really does take a village. Like you said, it takes more than just 2 parents for a home, and it is a very weird illusion that kind of keeps being around. But I see 2-parent homes struggle as much as a single mom home, you know, struggle. I mean, I think we are super resilient, and I mean, as a human race, honestly, I think we can do more than we really think we can, and you have to be your own kind of biggest cheerleader and know that you can do more. If you don't believe in you, it's not going to happen.
Right. And that might be a journey in and of itself, right? Like that's a
Yes.
valuable journey to be in that muck and then travel yourself out of it, reach out for the resources and support.
Yeah.
Can you what do you mean by side hustle? Because not everybody might understand what that is.
Yeah, so side hustles can be kind of different for everybody. It's kind of like a side job, if you will, that might not be something that produces enough income per se to pay like major bills like rent or something like that. But it's side money that you have that, and in my mind, you use it to build your wealth or pay down your debt. A lot of us have like 9-to-5 money where it kind of just pays for our life expenses like the mortgage or the rent or groceries, and then we're depleted. And then because either you don't budget wisely or you're living way above your means, you don't have ways to build wealth. You don't have ways to actually pay down those loans you have, be it the car loan or the student loan or just the credit cards. And so side hustle money really helps you to really be intentional with paying down the debt. And if you pay it down, to build your wealth up until you're able to balance it better in your everyday life and your budget. So for me, side hustling was my main income, because I was working exclusively from home. So the hustles for me were like my 9 to 5. I would find a new one, see if it worked for me, see if it was scammy, if it actually paid you well. And so I had 11 at one point, but I broke them down into categories like bill paying, fund building, and just kind of general passive. So passive ones I had were ones like doing class action suits or doing like surveys. You wouldn't always have it going on, but you might get a check for something you did last year, a nice little check that comes in handy. And I call that kind of like found money. You put that found money right toward debt or a fund you might want to be building, or something like that, you know? And then, but I had bigger hustles like selling, by the way, selling kids clothes is very lucrative. So when you're like, oh, I want to just give them away. No, if you have a child and you have plenty of clothes and toys, it's a very good market out there. And so that was a hustle that I did. I sold my daughter's clothes, and I sold shoes, toys, the whole gambit. I made a whole lot of money doing that. So, and that was more of a fund building, what I call a fund building hustle, where it allowed me to have things like to build what I call a child fund. If you are a parent, especially a single mother, things are always happening with our kids, always. They bump something, they have to go to the hospital here or the clinic here, or, oh, that last minute, well, before COVID, that last minute field trip at school, they forgot to remind you, but the morning of, they need like $20 for it, you to sign here. You're like, hold on, what? You know, but that adding up can often break your budget. So I recommended that, you know, all parents have at least $1,000 aside for their kids. If their kids have more needs, then you might have to put more money aside, but so you don't feel overwhelmed or stressed out when last minute things pop up. So with those hustles and really being focused in with the hustles, I was able to get rid of my debt. Me and the Mini got our first real estate property last January, this time in South Carolina. And now we're in Alaska looking for our next property out this way. But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't have these hustles and just kept on, you know, doing more, looking on how I can keep on changing. But it's more than, you know, people often think, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna have a 9 to 5 at my job. Then I'll have a side hustle at like Macy's or JC Penney, for example, right? The conventional, quote unquote, ways of doing a side hustle. It's literally a job that's after your job. And what happens is you often put all this money out for gas to get there. You're working late, you're buying food out. And a lot of us will end up shopping at our jobs and we're paying them, right? So you have to find a side hustle that works for your life. What do you want your life to look like? Maybe you want your weekends free. So don't do a side hustle on the weekend, right? Do one that fits. If you know you need to be bringing in a couple of $100 a month, don't do hustles that bring in like $20 every month here and there and sparingly. You have to, it's really a science to it. You really have to hone in on what your lifestyle is and match that to the hustle.
Got it. Got it. And I've heard you speak to this before, and I know that aligning with whatever you choose, like make sure it's something that you find valuable, right? That's a big piece of it for you.
Right. It's really huge. And it really took being a forward, I guess I could call it forward thinker. So I would sell my daughter's clothes, right, and get a profit from that. But I also got her clothes for free because she was actually an Instagram model. Yeah, you see, you think of an Instagram model, you think those girls with the no clothes on, you know, on Instagram. That's the vision. But my daughter was an Instagram model from about 6 months old to about she was 2.5, where she would, they were like small shops, often mom-led, online that wanted your kids to promote their products, their teething products, their clothes, the moccasins they made, the hair bows they made. So I had her involved in that space. So I didn't have to put any money out for clothes for her from a baby until about 2. That saved me so much money. And then when she got those clothes, I would often turn it and sell them. Or when family bought her clothes, I would sell that. So not only was I cutting funds in a way, I was also making a profit off of what we did have. But you have to get out of your own head. You have to think different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And you just spoke to like that connection you had with some other locally owned mama businesses.
Yeah.
And network that you created together. I feel like our future economy is going to be much more like that.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's big potential right now because we're recognizing the things that are out of alignment in a lot of areas, including economics.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that we all learn to support small business. I mean, I will order something that is more expensive, takes longer to get to me if I know, it's supporting someone, supporting their children, or supporting them to stay in their home. I mean, it just feels like you're more connected,
Yeah. And when it feels good, that energy is being emanated. And probably our children wearing those clothes, they're going to feel that too, as opposed to something made, elsewhere in a less aligned environment, which is a lot of the things in our world.
Right.
The other thing that, something else just landed for me that is so valuable. It's just this, I just lost it. Keep talking and it'll come back.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just encourage everyone, who's listening to really take time with yourself and really, and it's different for everybody. For me, I get aligned when I'm sitting in silence and just sitting in quiet. Some need to actually go outside and walk around in nature. Some need to go to a beach and bury their naked toes in the sand to really feel grounded in, whatever that means for you, but you have to be intentional with making that time. Or the news, the platforms online will be able to come into your brain and really, poison's a strong word, but honestly, poison your life and really deviate you off of your course. I recognize that I was up late last night because I recognized that my goals that I made at the end of 2019 into 2020 definitely had changed. But also I have been letting other things skew my mind. I've been doing a lot of spending since coming to Alaska, and I had to realign myself with remember, Valencia, what's your purpose on this earth, and what are you really trying to be intentional with? And I'm a Christian, and I'm very much so happy about my path getting back to the Lord, and that's helping to align me. And I encourage everyone to find whatever grounds them and make sure they keep at it. But you have to stop and take stock of where you are almost on a constant basis to make sure you're still aligned with the life that you want.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and that alignment is, I think it really connects us, it connects us to our spiritual connection, right, which you spoke to, which is so valuable right now, and which also aligns us with our ultimate abundance set point within. And I think that's what gets in the way of a lot of people's choices with their money, is that they're out of alignment with that knowing, and they don't feel that abundance flow, or they feel scarcity. That program that's out there is all about telling us that we're in scarcity and we don't have enough and we're separate from each other. And that fuels the economy, essentially, the way that keeps us kind of, bogged down into jobs that aren't in alignment, into spending that's not in alignment.
Yeah, and I mean, and we're just wired really, I mean, we're programmed as we get older and we grow very oddly. And I grew up thinking that you couldn't enjoy your 9 to 5. I grew up thinking 9 to 5s are the devil. You hate them and you go through them so you can retire. And then after you retire, once you retire, that's the promised land. They can do whatever you want. Until I met some mamas actually last year who genuinely enjoyed their job. And I was like, oh my God, people can actually enjoy it. It's not this evil thing, this bad thing. And that encouraged me to reassess that ideal that had been drilled into me. And now, I have a business that I love, which is where, I help single moms achieve that financial independence that I have reached. But now I can also fulfill my my other passion, which is helping people in my 9 to 5. It's possible to do it all. People think, oh, I only got to do one thing. You can do it all. You can want all the things and do all the things. It might take time. Like God told me, Valencia, look, you're going to have to sit for 6 years. If I had known at 6 years ago that all the heartache and pain and struggle will get me to here, I would have been so much more relaxed, so much more
right,
chill, right? But you don't know that the path, no one said life was easy or that was meant to be easy. And often we're geared to think that, instantly, we must have everything instantly, or it's not meant for us, or it's not for us. But it often takes some trial and tribulation and growth. You have to build a good foundation before you can have all the things you want. But finances is kind of like that. You have to really gear your life, your budget, your money towards ultimately what you want, but stay focused on your course. It might not clear up. You're not going to get debt free of all this debt in like a year, but it took you like 2 years to accumulate the debt. You're not going to get out of it in a year. It's going to take you being, staying the course. And so people, I think, get mixed up too. They get discouraged very easy, Yeah, but I get it.
Quick fix culture.
Right.
Yeah.
Quick fix, everyone, I mean, it's a culture very much so created on creating a worker bee that does not think independently, that does not want for much or more. And you're up against a lot when you get out in the real world and you're adulting and you have a child or children and you have to teach them at the same time you're still growing and learning yourself,
So what I'm hearing from you, Valencia, is there are a lot of ways to really take charge of our money and take charge and aligning it with that. What am I here to do and be is a big piece of it. And it can look all different ways. I love that. I that's kind of my path as well. I've done all kinds of different things. Each one of those has been an important part of my journey. I received so many things from different pieces of it. Even now in my work life, I have 3 different streams of income coming in. I'm so grateful for each one. And I'm like on a journey within each one. And I know it's going to shift and evolve. And as I invite people to consider that alignment with themselves, whether the entrepreneurial path is with them, is a fit for them, because that's something I also do, is support people in that path. It's that alignment is the key. It's like, if it's not a fit for you, great. Find that perfect job that is a fit for you, or find that other, pathway that is a fit for you. And that's ultimately what we're here, is like to be on the journey and finding and recalibrating to our own inner alignment, knowing ourselves, right? Knowing when we're out of alignment, what does that look like? Having no shame or blame around that. Like, those are lessons those are just like little nuggets to bring us back on track, right? So I often tell people, any challenge in your life right now is there for a really valuable purpose to your journey. So yeah, so can you share where your journey has led you now? Because I've, like, when I learned what you were up to, I was like, oh my gosh, so much courage and adventure, right?
Yeah, so once I actually wanted to start a blog. I thought I was gonna be a blogger. And so like this, I'll blog for accountability purposes. I'm on the final leg of getting debt free. And so I started to share my journey online. I started to have moms come to me and be like, well, how did you do this? And can you help me do this? And I'll pay you to help me do this. And so then I started doing the coaching and writing books about, you know, my journey, and then how people can actually use these hustles and get debt free as well. And I mean, the journey has taken me, I've been featured in Huffington Post, I've spoken at Google in Austin. It's taken me all over and in different, what I love about it, different spaces, talking to different types of people all over, which I love. And now it's taken me to Alaska, you know? So, you know, it's just, it's really been a wonderful journey. But again, if I had looked back at where I started at, I wouldn't have believed I would have come here. You know, the alignment piece that you speak of is just so huge. And if you are not aligned with it, it will not end up that way. I have had points in my journey when I've been just like, Lord, I don't think I'm meant to be talking about money anymore. I knew I had the skill. I knew I had the background. I knew I had the chutzpah to get, you know, to really be on it, but it didn't feel right. And I realized it didn't feel right because I wasn't incorporating my spirituality into it. I wasn't incorporating my path with God into it. And I became more intentional with, you know, with stating I'm a Christian entrepreneur and standing in my truth. And that became more comfortable in it. But that's the whole, again, the alignment piece. So the journey has just been, it's been hard, it's been daunting, but it's been so gratifying and so fulfilling. And my child has been able to watch me the entire way, which has been just mind-blowing in itself. When your kids can watch you, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it's, and you know, you're kind of, yeah, I mean, and you just know like that they're seeing this different way of living, and they're understanding what took you 30 or 40 years to get together. They're able to see it as children, and you know that whenever you leave them, I say whenever I leave her, I know that I'm leaving her with a legacy of knowledge, a legacy of wealth, but not just wealth monetarily, but wealth mentally, you know? And that's so impactful for me.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Can you speak to how parenting has shifted you? How becoming a mama has shifted your, you know, what things?
You're trying to make me cry. I will not cry on here. You will not make me cry.
Tears are welcome.
Oh my gosh. I literally almost cried about her yesterday. I told my mom, I was just like, she has been just the light of my life. And even saying it like that just seems too small. She was something I didn't know I needed, and something I didn't know you could have in life. Being her mother has been an absolute honor. And I keep saying, you know, too, you know, because you don't know how long you're going to be in this life. And I've had a lot of health issues recently this past year, but I've been comforted in the fact that whenever I do leave her, I know I've left her with so much, and she's given me so much. And parenting for me has just been this beautiful, beautiful journey. And though I haven't had the best partner throughout the journey, and I've had, you know, negativity coming at me from different places, the journey with me and her has just been beautiful. And I have no regrets whatsoever. I wouldn't change a thing. It's been everything. Like, she is literally my everything, you know?
Yeah.
You're still hungry? Yeah.
Yeah, I think for a lot of us, our kids are, you know, if things hadn't, for a lot of us who chose to leave the relationship, it's our kids that are a big piece of that. And what they've then revealed to us is like, okay, but I also needed this for myself so much. And so that journey together as a single parent with your kids, figuring out, like, it takes us to our edges. Like, how am I going to resource this amazing being that came through me to have this life?
Yeah.
Do I need to go to? They really call us to our edges, to be accountable to those big dreams, to getting out of debt, to stepping into things that are out of the box. I know. I'm so grateful for my own journey there, and my kids have been the biggest teachers. They still are, right? It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah, so Karen was speaking to our inner circle mama group, and we were all blessed with learning about her journey, which was just so transformative and just so beautiful. And I want to kind of back up a little bit when you mentioned that when you saw me in the group, when I saw Karen in the group, I immediately saw like a soul sister, like where you even meet people, and we haven't even met technically, but like where you see people, you're like instantly you connect. And I was like, something about Karen is just so high vibe, just in tune, and you kind of just want to be around her. You want to talk to her more. I mean, just that energy is just so wonderful. And that's a huge part of even the debt-free journey, as well, is aligning yourself with people who bring light and love and calm and just all these positive things into your life. If you're aligned with people who aren't jiving with you or who aren't on that path, it will really throw you off completely. So I just love when I meet people who are just really focused on living intentionally and living with a purpose and just really living life to their fullest. And Karen is that. So y'all are in a good place. She's taking care of you guys.
Thank you, Valencia. Oh, that means a lot. I appreciate receiving that.
Yes.
So good. Sweet. I'm taking our time. Oh, we've been on here for a good bit. So speaking of our inner circle group, maybe we can offer an invite for people to consider that. So the Single Mamas Do Travel Inner Circle membership is specifically designed for single mamas who have big dreams. I would say it might be a big dream to travel. You might already be traveling, or you might just, that might be a piece of it, but there's a lot of single mamas there who are stepping out of the boxes, stepping into entrepreneurial pathways, or just single mamas who are in need of connection. I think it would be really valuable to anybody in those who identify with that. What would you say, Valencia?
Yeah, same. I mean, for me, I was very lonely in my single mom journey. I honestly, when I was back home in Maryland, and even now, I don't know very many single moms in my life personally. And so I know married moms, and I know moms who want to be single moms, but
Right, there's a lot of people on the cusp trying to figure that out.
figure that out, and so for me, I felt very lonely in my single mom journey in this space. So when I found the group, it was like, but like you said, it's moms from all different walks, but it's to have those moms who got it, who understood on other levels that people couldn't. It was just nice. And the Marco Polo was great to be able to touch base. I felt like I had girlfriends who I'm talking to all the time.
Yeah.
That's literally what it became. And, you could hop off and come back on and see someone's life in Mexico, see someone's life, or someone is living their everyday life in a 9 to 5 and just going through that. I mean, even for me, I'm very removed from what's going on because I'm, I guess, semi-abroad because it's so different living here. Yeah,
I don't think you've even said where you're at yet.
Right. Yeah, so I'm on a small island in the southeast of Alaska. The island is actually called Revilla Gigedo. That's the island name. But you will have never heard of it, but you might heard of Ketchikan, because Ketchikan is on like the typical like Alaska cruise line like route. It's the first city in Alaska, first city of Alaska. But you have never heard of the actual island called its name. But yeah, so I'm kind of semi-abroad and I'm very detached from what's going on, honestly, worldwide. So it's been nice to even see moms who are still in quarantine and how that is. And, with the protests going on, to kind of still be in touch with people and be able to offer support to them also has been wonderful for me. And so the group has been seriously impactful. I actually joined the group when there was like I joined the Facebook group, but I actually had never actually said anything in the group. at all. And so, but they were like, oh, we're doing a free Zoom call. Just hop in. You can meet women from our membership group. And I'm just like, I see, baby. Good, sweetheart. That's fine, sweetie. So I found my own food. Good job being independent. And I was like, but it was on a day I felt overwhelmed. I felt super lonely. I was just in a very just unmotivated place. And I saw the reminder, the free Zoom's coming, reminder. And I was like, but I don't know these people, but I'm very social. I'll just get on and see what happens. And I got on, and it was life-changing. After the Zoom, and we were just on there on Zoom and seeing moms from all over the world. I think one was from Morocco at that point, some part of another part of Africa. It was just people from all over. And after that call, I felt so connected with the group. I immediately went and paid for the membership. I was like, I'm in this. You know?
Yeah.
And so that's how the group pulled me in, and how you'll just feel that connection. It was really wonderful. Yeah.
Good. So good. I too, I've so appreciated it during all of these shifts happening in the bigger world, because we have this microcosm of our collective of beautiful souls in that group, and we get to support each other. And there's women in that group that are on all different levels of every aspect of the challenges showing up right now, right?
Yes.
There's mamas there who are protesting. There's mamas there in the National Guard. There's mamas there who are in Mexico. There's mamas who are really struggling with it. And there's mamas who are helping to hold the space because we're a little bit more, there's mamas who, like me, who are, showing, just working through it. We're all working through it from our own place of where we're at, and we're able to connect up. And that's pretty rare, to have such a diversity of people and life experiences all showing up. And there are no daddies there. We don't have that diversity, but there's a lot of masculine out in the world that we get to bump up with. So.
Right. But yeah, I mean, the diversity, right? Shout out to the dads. The diversity is huge, and even everyone's child, the age range and how many kids they have, it's all so different. But and Amoya, who's our group leader and I guess she is our fair leader of the group, and I mean, it's just, she often comments about how the energy is just so good. I mean, we have mamas literally from all walks. It's just really wonderful, and I might not understand you and your lifestyle per se, but just seeing it, and everyone just seeing it and being, this is what I feel like the world, and I hope the world is leading towards, is more inclusiveness and just more, I don't quite get what you're going through or what life what path you're walking on, but I'm so curious to see and learn with you and grow with you, and just, I feel like back in the day, you became friends through really insignificant, petty things, like, oh, we watched the same show, or, we went to high school together. They weren't really things that as an adult can really ground you. And being a part of that group, I'm being grounded by people who I never would have thought would help ground me, or I wouldn't have met out in the street and thought I would bond with or find commonality with.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like we all come from this framework of understanding that we've all been through tough times, because we've all been on this single mama journey. So that sort of inherently includes dark nights of the soul. And we all know what I don't see there is people trying to fix or solve problems for other people. It's just much more of holding space, encouragement, and seeing each other as as really powerful people going through different waves,
Yeah, it's beautiful. Awesome. It really is. Yeah, it's a great, we clearly love it, you guys.
Check it out. And actually right now, for any single mamas drawn to this, there's a 30-day free, which wasn't there when I signed up, and I don't think it was signed up. So you should definitely jump in. If you want to know more, reach out to Valencia or reach out to me, and we can just share a direct link and check it out. So Valencia, can you also share best ways? Valencia has an awesome podcast. I've been listening to it. I highly recommend checking it out. It's called, I was going to ask you to tell about it, but I'm going to tell about it. Single Moms on the Money. And the newest podcast is Parenting While Black. And I highly recommend everyone listen to that, whether you're parenting as a Black family or parenting a Black or biracial child, or you're a white mama parenting, white kids. It's all really valuable information to be aware of and to listen into. So what else do you want to say, or how else do you want people to connect in with you, Valencia?
Well, I want to first thank you for having me on. This was a beautiful, but I know it would be because it's with you. So I knew it would be a very beautiful, safe space to be in. So thank you for providing that for me. But yeah, so you can reach me on millionairesmama.com or on Instagram at millionairesmama, also on Facebook, it's millionaires with 2 S's. And I slide into my DM or my personal message. I'm always available to talk and bounce ideas off of, or just be a shoulder to lean on. If I don't know something, I have a bunch of friends and finances who I can direct you to and lead you on to your way. I definitely believe in, if I don't know something, I can pass you along to someone who is more knowledgeable than me. I would never want to steer you in the wrong direction. But yeah, and then Single Moms on the Money. It's a brand new podcast. We actually started on MLK Day in January of this year. It's been super impactful for us. And we have a new episode coming out for Father's Day, actually coming out on Monday, that I'm super excited for. And talk about really synergy and really honing in. And the episode's really cool because it really just shows that, we all go through things, but because we're not talking about it, we don't know what other people are going through. And we have to really get to a space where we're comfortable sharing our journey more, because it can help us, but also impact so many other people. So we have our first ever guest coming on, who's a single dad. And if you're a single mom, I guarantee you will at least find 5 things that you share deep in common with this man. I mean, it was like scary similar. And I was like, you go through that? Me too. I mean, a lot of that. And it was just like, we are laughing, we're cutting up pretty much the entire episode, but it's really, really good. And I can't wait till you all can check that out as well. So you can find me. I'm literally all over the place, as you can see.
Yeah, we will definitely drop the links to find all of that goodness from Valencia in the posts, in the shares. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for Valencia, for showing up big and then turning around and sharing your journey and resources with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Post any comments below, any takeaways. We'd love to hear it, and we'll respond back. Have a great weekend.